like,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Teddy, are you there yet? No. Okay. Lance, why don't you lead off? I know you're there.
Okay. I'll pick up where she left off. Rab Chaim Na'eh holds that the measurement is 86 cc's. The gematria of the word kos in Hebrew, kos, is
Close.
86. Was it? Nos?
Is 86. In other words,
Yeah.
Chaf, Vav, and Samach together. Each of the,
Right.
have you ever seen that, Lance, where they do numerics with stuff like that? Where they take a word, Bays is two, all the alphabet is assigned numbers depending upon where they are in the alphabet.
Have you ever
You know,
seen an atbash?
beg your pardon?
Have you ever seen an atbash?
Yeah. I
So
also,
that's numerical.
right. Yeah. Rabbi Kellemer, when he was alive at the Young Israel of West Hempstead, was famous for his ability to um, to do to do these things, and he used to do for bar mitzvahs. He used to do so. I remember that he figured out the gematria for for Wayne Gretzky, for this kid who was and how it was appropriate. Oh, Wayne Gretzky, is Tariq Mitzvah. I don't remember what the thing was, but it's all fanciful, but it's fun when you do that. I don't take it particularly seriously personally, but that's me. Anyway, continue.
Which is about 3 ounces, while the Noda Ben Yehuda and the Chazanish hold that it is 150 cc's. The gematria of the words kos hagun in Hebrew, approximately 5 ounces. The Mishnah Berurah, in the quote below from the Biur Halacha, rules that the practical halacha is that, with regard to biblical mitzvot, one should adopt the stringent opinion, but for rabbinic mitzvot, one may be lenient and rely on a smaller measurement. Since the 4 cups are rabbinic in nature, one may use the measurement of 86 cc's as the size of the
That's 3 ounces.
Okay, you want me to continue?
Continue, please. Yeah.
Okay.
Biur halacha.
Halacha, Siman 271. In practice, it seems that regarding a Torah obligation, such as consuming kazayit of matzah on the night of Pesach, one certainly needs to be stringent in accordance with them, the stringent opinions. Similarly, regarding the nighttime kiddush, whose basis is from the Torah, lechatchila, one should also take the opinion of the tzalach, Rabbi Landau, who is also the author of the Noda Yehuda, into consideration. Similarly, the Chatam Sofer is stringent, like him, concerning the measurement of a revi'at. However, regarding the daytime kiddush and other instances, other instances of a koshel bracha, one may rely on the common custom in accordance with what is explained in the Magen Avraham and Pri Megadim and other acharunim. Nonetheless, it seems that lachatchila, the cup should be capable of containing the volume of 2 eggs with their shell.
Well, as I say, to me, that's sort of, the best way to do this is to do it by ounces. I don't know why they keep,
That
insinuating
seems contrary to what we read before.
it's 3 to 5 ounces
Content of 2 eggs without their shell is more than
with their shell.
2 ounces.
No, what we read is it's 3 ounces is what it is in terms of the amount of liquid it would displace.
3 ounces,
Okay.
but 2 eggs is more than 3 ounces.
I don't know the answer, but the answer is, I will tell you, okay, because I've looked into it. Everybody says that it is the equivalent of 3 ounces, and some people say as much as 5. So 3 to 5 is what you need. Regardless of what it is with eggs and stuff like that.
Okay.
I mean, right now we use large eggs. Do you remember they come in all different sizes? Eggs.
Well, this is true. I mean, they in fact, there were some people that say, kazayit as an example, is an olive size. And Thea, did you want to say something? I see your name. That is of an olive, which is really not very much. And so I've seen people that have argued that in fact the olives during the time of either the Beis Hamikdash or the biblical times were larger, and and I thought that was an interesting thing. So I actually wrote to a historian in Israel, and he said that that's absolutely not true. He says they have discovered, garbage dumps with dating back to the time of the Beis Hamikdash and to the Talmudic times that have the pits from olives that were used, and that in fact they are the same size olives as we have nowadays. They're not super large. So I thought that was interesting too. Anyway, Thea, did you want to say something? If so, please, please unmute yourself.
I just wanted to say about the eggs being different sizes. That's all.
Yeah, it
It's
is. It's, as I said, there's different size eggs. That's,
right.
but also one of the biggest things is a is the size of an olive. And that's very inconsequential in terms of sizes, even if it's a big olive, or those big fat ones, that's not a whole lot of matzah or whatever. We'll get to that. What I will do is I will find out what Rav Stephen thinks about matzah, the shiur of matzah and moror and stuff like that. And, I'll share that with you, and then we could discuss it next week, God willing. Uh, let's see the okay. Okay, then he says, I'm looking at the footnote. These sources here are referring to the dispute of what's double the halachic measurement of eggs nowadays, due to the possibility that our eggs are half the size that they once were, which I don't think is really true. Okay, reclining. Oh, okay. Let's continue. You want to continue, Lance, a little bit more?
Sure. One of the mitzvot of Seder night is to recline, how's that for not coincidence, on one's left side while eating and drinking, as stated by the Mishnah, Pesachim 99b. Quote, even a poor person in Israel may not eat unless he reclines, unquote. The Gemara, Pesachim 108a, clarifies that the mitzvah applies specifically while drinking the 4 cups and eating the matzah and the afikomen. The reason for reclining is given by the Rambam as follows. Now we're really going to get into the reclining. Okay, they're obligated one to eat while reclining in the manner of kings and distinguished individuals, so that it should be in a manner of freedom. In every oh, by the way, I'm sure you're aware that one of the reasons we don't say Hallel at Purim is because technically the Jews of in the Megillah were still under the control of Ahasuerus, whereas the Jews in the Holy Land and the Promised Land were in charge of themselves. They were free, literally free, truly free. Anyway,
Right. Continuing. Rambam.
Rambam. In every generation, a person is obligated to depict himself as if he himself came out of slavery in Egypt right now. Therefore, when one eats on this night, he must eat and drink while reclining in a manner of freedom.
Okay. Let me see. Teddy, would you like to pick up in page? You got to unmute yourself. Are you there, Teddy? Maybe she stepped away for a second. Hold on a second. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Let's. Well, why don't we? Milt, why don't you pick up until we find out what happened to Teddy?
Okay. I hope we find her. That's below the peach.
No, the basis for the rabbinic.
The basis for this rabbinic enactment of Hasiba was the fact that reclining luxuriously in this manner was a common practice in Talmudic times. However, it seems that even in the times of the Rishonim, it was already not as widely practiced. The question that arises, therefore, is whether the mitzvah of Hasiba should still apply, even if the basis for it is no longer relevant. The Ravya suggests that since reclining is no longer considered a manner of freedom, even for kings, the obligation of Hasiba no longer applies.
Okay.
Here we have Rav Avia, Volume 2, Pesachim 5-5. In our times, where it is not common in our countries for free people to recline, one should sit normally. The Shulchan Aruch rules that one must recline even today and describes the proper way to do so. If one does not do so, he rules that one has not fulfilled one's obligation and must fulfill the mitzvah in question again. For Sephardim, this ruling applies to all 4 cups of wine, while for the Ashkenazim, this is true for the first 2 cups only.
Shulchan Aruch, go for it.
Shulchan
Oh,
Aruch, Orach Chaim 472:3 something 7. Shulchan Aruch, when one reclines, one should not lean backwards nor forwards, not to one's right, rather to one's left. The Ramah, and there is no distinction between a left-handed person and another that is right-handed person. Shulchan Aruch, regarding one who is obligated to recline, if he ate or drank without reclining, he has not fulfilled his obligation and needs to repeat eating and drinking while reclining. Ramah. Some say
I don't understand what is, could we summarize what's being said here?
Okay, what's being said here is that it used to be that it was considered luxurious and kingly and things of that nature to to eat reclining. And so the question that's trying to get at is, in contemporary times, even kings don't eat, reclining. They eat normally sitting up. The president of the United States, when he has a sit down dinner, a state dinner, doesn't have, a thing where he lies down. You have a table and chairs. So they say, as I say, so they're trying to figure out what to do. According to the Shulchan Aruch, he says that, in fact, if you do not recline, then in that case you have to repeat the drinking of the wine or the eating of the matzah, if that's in fact when you were not reclining. So you have to repeat it because it's an obligation to recline.
Bert,
No,
oh, go ahead. I'm
yes.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, Bert, what we're seeing here is contradictory, stringent, lenient, all these debates. And my understanding is, and it's true in my synagogue, that the rabbi is the Mara d'Atra, and what the rabbi in my locality, my synagogue, says goes. For example, on Maariv, Erev Shabbos, post Shabbos, he made a ruling to go back to something that was done in his synagogue a long time ago in order to enable one of the mourners in the congregation to say Kaddish, an extra Kaddish. So that's something that wasn't done and is now being done. But the point is here, my suggestion would be if, in other words, if Rav Stephen is your rabbi, your Mara d'Atra, then as Bert suggests, going to Rav Stephen is correct. However, in my case, my rabbi is not Rav Stephen, and I have to go to my rabbi and ask him. For example, there's a big controversy about how you conduct yourselves from the Siyum B'chorim to the Seder, because Shabbos intervenes. So how do you do that?
Right.
And what,
Okay.
Bert, do you have a suggestion for that?
Okay, here's what it is. I think that that's a good idea to always follow, your communal rabbis. On the other hand, you do have, the Shulchan Aruch, and you have other codes of law that, that seems to indicate. Now, as you put it, there's always differences of opinion. That's what there seems to be no one thing about that. Let me mention before I forget, because the thought just popped into my head. Excuse me. I don't know whether or not, you know, this is something that people are aware of. This year is a very unusual year. Okay. Erev Pesach, is on Shabbos. Okay. And therefore, so the question comes up, you're supposed to have three meals, on Shabbos. And, and if you, how do you work it so that you could fit that in? And at the same time, you're supposed to have appetite for the Seder. So you're not supposed to be eating beyond a certain time. And there's a whole set of recommended practices, of what to do. You make Kiddush and have breakfast, and that would be your second meal. And then after that, you have, you wait a period of time, like till 10 or 11 o'clock, and then, you have, an early lunch. And then you're done with the requirements. Is there interest in my finding out what the recommendations are for this particular thing because it's so
Yes.
unusual?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm very interested because I'm waiting for my rabbi. He has promised to give us instructions, but he hasn't yet. And I'd
Yeah.
love
So
to
what
hear
I
what
will
somebody else is doing.
what I will do is I will see if I know Rabbi Linzer has been writing a lot about this. I want to know whether or not he has sort of finalized his own view of these things. And just as an aside, it's probably very rare that that Rav Stevens' views will differ from Rabbi Linzer's, because Rabbi Linzer is his Rebbe, from getting smicha. So, from Chovevei. So that would be my guess. What I'll do is I'll be in contact with Rabbi Linzer, today, and so that next week we could stop what we're doing and and do this unusual circumstance, which happens, as I understand it, once every 20 or 30 years, that it comes out this way. It's exceedingly rare. So, it's an interesting thing. So let's continue. We're up to the remote.
Bert, I'm sure that each of our rabbis will be sending out instructions on what to do.
Yes, I
that
know, but I'm
usually-
saying, yeah, and as I say, you may want to just rely on your own rabbi, but I think just to have as a baseline,
Yeah,
for people, this is what Rabbi Linder / Rav Steven think, and
yeah,
then if you get stuff that from your local rabbi who you would prefer to adhere to, then you could do that. As far
okay,
as I'm concerned, I consider Rabbi Linzer to be, my posek, / Rav Steven. I don't think they differ many times. Ramah somebody. You will pick doing it. Keep doing the Ramah. Were you doing that, Teddy? No. Who
I
was who
haven't
was
been
who
reading.
was
I think
reading?
Milton's been
Mel,
reading.
continue please with the Ramah.
Okay. And it seems
Well, hold on a second. Bert, you're gonna have to click off of, you have a turn on, you have a dialog box that's blocking on the upper left-hand corner. Just
Oh,
unclick
okay,
that.
fine. All right, hold
Just
on a second.
unclick that. Yep, good, thank you.
I'm just trying to. Okay, let's go. Shulchan Aruch.
and
Excuse me, Ramah.
and it seems to me that if one didn't drink the third or fourth cup while reclining, he shouldn't drink again while reclining, as there is a concern that it seems that one is adding to the cups. But for the first two cups, one drinks them again without a bracha. And similarly, regarding eating matzah, lechatchila, one should recline for the entire meal. So that's the
Okay,
best position, as opposed to b'diavad, you forgot, or something like that.
right, exactly. As I say, I want to see more. I'm going to try and look for more stuff. Regarding continue, just do this one more thing, and then we'll shift over to Teddy.
A woman does not need to recline unless
No,
she
no,
is
regarding women's. Okay, all right. Do the
Rama,
peach first.
regarding women's obligation to recline, the Shulchan Aruch and Ramah rules as follows. A
Okay,
woman
so,
doesn't, what?
Continue.
A
Finish
woman
this off.
does not need to recline unless she is prominent. Ramah says all of our women are considered prominent, but they do not have the custom to recline, as they rely on the words of the Ra'avia, who writes that in contemporary times, one does not recline.
So why does he say that the men recline and the women don't recline? That doesn't make sense.
I think that there's an element, of involved with all of this, of questions about tzniut, that somehow or another it is considered a lacking tzniut for women to be reclining at the, for
Yeah, but
women to
they should say
recline.
that. There should be a reason. They don't
I
say it.
understand that. Let's see if they do that. We haven't finished this
Okay.
yet. Teddy?
Yeah, okay. According to the Shulchan Aruch, based on the Gemara, women are exempt for reclining unless they are considered prominent. As apparently in earlier times, most women never reclined, and it was never considered an expression of freedom for them to do so.
Except for Cleopatra in the movie.
By contrast, the Rema writes that even though all women have a status of prominent ones in former times, the custom is no women recline based on the opinion of the Rayaya. However,
Ravaya.
Rayavya. However, they are permitted to recline if they so desire, and it is considered praiseworthy for them to do so. Indeed, the practice many Ashkenazi women do customarily recline. With regard to the practice of Sephardic women, the Ben Ish Chai writes that the custom is to recline, which is also the opinion of Rav Avadia Yosef and Chazon Avadia. 14.
Yeah, let me see what the footnote
So
says.
it's really like a machlokas. I mean, it's like some people, I don't think it's according to this, it's really tradition. It's not deoraita that you have to
Oh,
recline.
no, the reclining is clearly not the Oraisa.
Yeah.
That as far as as far as I understand it.
Okay, so let's
That's
read
clearly
number 5.
Durabanan, it's clearly Durabanan. And the question is, did they intend for women to do it? And that's what the whole
Okay.
So why don't you read
So
the short
I'm gonna
why
read
don't you
number
read
5.
footnote
I'm gonna
5,
read number 5. Okay.
please?
Okay. The Aruch HaShulchan 472-6 questions why the Ramah states that women specifically rely on the opinion of the Rayavya. His opinion is accepted. Then why don't men also rely on it? Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, Halichot Shlomo Pesach, chapter 9, gives the following answer. According to the letter of the law, there is good reason to say that the halacha of reclining should no longer apply, as no one is accustomed to reclining nowadays and is not considered an expression of freedom anymore. Nevertheless, we will recline because our ancestors did so in commemoration of their custom. But this is the case with regard to men only, who used to recline and therefore continued the custom of previous generations. Most women, though, never had the practice of reclining, as noted in the text. Since they never did so initially, they are exempt now as well from continuing the custom. So that makes sense.
Okay, Ben Ish Chai.
Okay, Ben Ish, the question is why didn't they do it when the men did it? But that's another question. Okay.
Well, no, I mean, if they were not accustomed to doing it, it's,
But why not?
I guess, I mean, I don't know. The answer to that is an interesting thing. So if you go back to Purim, the women made parties and stuff like that. I don't know whether or not they did reclining. It's an interesting factual question. At the time, we know that kings did it. Okay. I don't know if queens did, and as I jokingly said
Well,
before,
Queen
and
Esther
as
didn't do it. Remember in the Megillah, it writes that because of the wine, Haman was leaning on Esther. Remember?
oh,
But
I thought the way I interpret that is that he fell,
yeah,
and
well,
that
he was drunk also.
well,
Right.
I think what happened was he saw that, that things were not going to happen, particularly well for him, as his as all of his friends and his wife, who were supportive of him previously, said, "Oh, now if you started to fall to Mordecai, that's the end of it for you. No longer, I love when I read the Megillah. I read it for shut-ins in West Hempstead. It's always I love these little pieces fall into place. I love this. Oh yeah, if you started to fall to Mordecai, that's the end of you now. You forget about you.
Yeah.
What a supportive wife she was.
Okay, so Ben Ishchai, Shana, Rishona, Parshat Tzav,
Wait a second. Also,
day
all
of
the four.
28.
Wait. All the four kesayet of matzah, the green thing, whatever number that is, 18 in English. It's at
18?
the top. It's at the top here in green.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I just read it. Yeah. Also, all the four kazayit portions of matzah need to be eaten while reclining. That's interesting, both for men and women, adults and children. So for
So
the
just as an aside, it's much harder to drink wine reclining, particularly with kids. It's we always have lots and lots of accidents at our Sedata. You want to read about who the Benish guy was, or should we skip this? Let's skip this. Okay.
Bert, I have a quick question.
Okay.
How do you determine who is a quote prominent woman unquote?
Well, that's what they said. That there was a dispute about that. And the answer is that all women are considered, according to one decisor, that, all Jewish women are prominent, and that therefore they should all do it. And then the other hand is that it's not a function of prominence, it's a function of custom. Did they do it or not? And according to those people who said that they didn't do it, even when men were practicing this, then in that case, women shouldn't do it. So as with almost everything we've seen in terms of practice, there's always two opinions, and and again, consult with your local rabbi, about what it is that you should practice. I personally don't recline because I find it exceedingly uncomfortable, and if the idea is you're supposed to be doing expressions of freedom, even though they used to do it then, people were used to doing it then, that's great, but that's for me. Urachatz. Okay, continue. Teddy.
Okay, orchatz. Following Kiddush, we wash our hands before eating the karpat based on the halacha of Devar Shet Bulo B'mashket, washing hands for any vegetables dipped in a liquid, which is cited elsewhere in the Shulchan Aruch as applying all year round. However, since Rishonim dispute whether there is in fact an obligation to do so today, and many today rely on the lenient opinions not to do so at all, we wash our hands without a bracha. So
Right
let's
now,
see
well,
what that.
just you mentioned let me mention the personally, I don't know how it is with everybody. It's interesting. Let's find out what everybody else's practice is. That only the leader of the Seder, washes his hands at this point. That's the practice that I've been accustomed to. How about everybody else?
Agree.
No,
Agree.
everybody does wash their hands.
So you have it, everybody washes. Okay, who else? Lance?
Just the leader.
Just the leader. Okay, that seems to be the more common practice. Milt, how about you?
I think all of people at my Seder table wash their hands. The
That's
bowl
what I
goes
think.
around. The bowl
Milt,
goes
how about you?
around.
Everybody.
Everybody. Ah, that's interesting. So
Yeah,
it seems to be, Judy, you said just the leader, right?
except for for the hand washing before the meal and
No,
before
no, 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 no.
having
That's different.
matzah.
That's different. That's
Yeah. Then
different.
everybody
It's
does it.
completely
But for
different.
this
Yeah,
one, before the karpas, just the
correct.
leader.
Yeah. Okay. So you said that Felice, I see you. So you said that everybody does it,
Yes, I
at your
believe
Seder.
so.
How about you, Thea? Everybody? You got to unmute yourself. Thea, you there? Okay. All right. Oh, okay. Okay. Shulchan Aruch.
Okay,
Teddy?
Shulchan Aruch, Chaim 47:3-6. One washes one's hands for the sake of the first dipped vegetable, but one does not recite the bracha on the washing. Yeah. So you wash, the bowl goes around, but we don't say a bracha.
Right. That's for those people like yourself who,
Yeah. Yeah.
where everybody does it. For
I
me,
guess it's the
it's just
tradition.
a one person that does it.
It
My
doesn't
son-in-law,
say, it doesn't say here with who does it. It doesn't
right.
specify.
Okay.
Let's
That's
see,
true.
let's
Yeah,
see.
no, I'm
Mishnah-
just saying a lot of what we do now, in terms of halacha, is a matter of what practices, in other words, what your father and grandfather, stuff did, and that's frequently the model that you should follow. So that, that's, as I say, my grandfather was the only one who washed, uh, at our Sidorim. And we used to have it actually a fairly large group of people. We had it with my uncle lived in this, an aunt, and hit their kids. Used to live in the same building. So we had with my grandparents, them, and us, and it was, fairly,
A lot of people.
yeah, it was a good number of people, And in fact, I remember how my cousin, when he was very young, uh, was given the afikoman to hide, and he did it. He wasn't explained to him, so he just ate it. Oh, you're supposed to hide. Oh, no,
Now,
so
the
he fed
question is, why do you wash without a bracha?
well, the right because the question is it a biblical? Is it an obligation or not? Okay.
Because it didn't say, it just said the
Because what I'm
point
saying
around.
is, according to
Okay, follow
the
because you
stuff in
wash
the
your
page,
hands before eating the karpas based on the lacha of Dvar Shulach B'ma.
in other words, they used to when they used to
Could you
they used
move
to
it over to the left so I could see the whole word? Shetibul loch?
Shitubulo b'mashke. In other words, stuff
Wash your
that
hands many bit, dip in
vegetables in
liquid.
wine, in water rather, or
So,
something like.
but why do you
ve-
say it without a bracha?
Let's reread it. It's dipped in a liquid which is cited elsewhere in the Shulchan Aruch as applying all year round. However, since Rishonim dispute whether there is in fact an obligation to do so today, okay, and that's why we wash our hands without a bracha. In other
Okay,
words,
okay,
because because of that
yeah.
opinion.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
Bert,
yeah,
Maim Achronim doesn't have a blessing, right?
no, it does not. Okay,
And where is it
we
mentioned?
actually
Did anybody mention it here?
we
Shouldn't you
as
do
I
it
say,
at the Seder? Of
we actually studied Mayim Acharonim, and
course.
yeah,
I know that, but I'm saying we've been reading about virtually every move you make in a Seder, and I don't remember in any Haggadah the mention of my Machronim.
oh, that's true. That's an interesting thing. I wonder why not.
Good question.
Inquiring minds want to know, as they used to say about the National Enquirer.
Ask Rav Stephen.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask for Stephen. They used to say inquiring minds want to know. So therefore, with the National Enquirer. So I'll ask for Stephen.
Okay,
I will do that today.
Mishnah Brura 158:20. Since there are a few Rishonim who hold that the sages did not require washing hands for vegetables that have been dipped in liquid, except in their days. Okay, so the Rishonim were told they did not require dipped in liquid except in their days where they were scrupulous about eating in a state of purity, as opposed to nowadays where we are all impure and impurity of a corpse.
Come a mate.
Therefore, one should not recite a bracha as uncertainties with regard to brachot are resolved leniently, not reciting a bracha.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Karpas. Moshe Resnick, would you like to pick up?
Once everyone has washed their hands, the Seder continues with the eating of the karpas, vegetable as described by the Mishnah. Machos Pesachim 148. The attendants brought vegetables before the leader of the Seder. prior to the meal. If there were no other vegetables on the table, he dips the chazaros into the water or vinegar so that there be a conspicuous distinction for the children.
Okay, my my minhag, is to dip it in salt water. How about other people's?
Now that-
Salt water.
I never heard of the charosis being dipped.
Oh,
About the what, charos?
Yeah, it says it dips into the charosis if you don't have
I've never
karpas.
seen that too. Just let's go to how much karpas is eaten because
well,
it's an interesting thing. You'll see. Continue, Moshe.
how much karpas is eaten? According to the Rambam, one must eat a kazayas of karpas, as eating an amount less than a kazayas is not considered significant in halacha. This is the ruling of the Bach, Siman 473, and the Gra, Masa, Rav 187 as well. Rambam, Hilchos, Chametz, Umatzah, A2. One begins by reciting the bracha of Borei Pri Hodama, and then takes the vegetable and dips it in charosos and eats a chazayas. He, as well as all the people sitting with him, each person must not eat less than a kazayas. However, the Rosh and the Rashba hold that one need not eat a kazayas, since the purpose of kaparas is only to pique the children's interest, as stated in the Mishnah above. Rosh Pesachim. Because when reciting the bracha of Al Haklach Mora, on eating Mora, one needs to eat a kazayas, and it is not defined as eating with less than a kazayas. However, concerning the vegetables that one eats earlier and upon which one recites Borei Priyadamo, but does not mention eating, one does not need to eat a kazayas.
I don't understand that. I don't know what they're talking about here. Okay, let's continue though. The Shulchan Aruch.
The Shulchan Aruch rules in accordance with the Rosh and adds that one should specifically eat less than a kazayas in order not to enter into any doubt regarding whether a concluding bracha achrona is required, and this is the accepted custom.
Continue.
Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim 4736. One takes less than a kazayas of karpos and dips it in vinegar and recites the bracha of Borei Pri Hodama and then eats. One does not recite the concluding bracha.
Right. That's why the tradition that I've adhered to for many years is you eat less than a kasayas of karpas, because therefore obviating the need for a bracha achrona. Um, I don't know why it is that they would say that, that, but that's in fact, what happens, is if you notice that, the Shulchan Aruch, your Haggadah, does not have at that point, after you finish eating that, a bracha achrona for the
Kazayas.
karpas, for the
Uh,
ksayas of kar, for karpas, because because I think they assumed that you were eating less than a
less.
than a Cassius, of it, so that this not to require it. I don't know why they decided not to do that, but I am almost 100% certain that I've never seen an Haggadah that had the bracha achrona for what do you call that, for karpas. I mean, has anybody seen that they can remember?
Bert, that brings up a very interesting question for me, and that is, if you're using Eli Wiesel's Haggadah or Rav Avi's Haggadah, and they come with instructions, right?
I don't know if they will come.
Every
I don't know.
Haggadah comes with
I
instructions.
haven't seen Rav Avi's, so I cannot
No,
tell you.
okay, just Maxwell Coffee, whatever
House,
Haggadah
yes.
you have. If you have a different Haggadah, or worse, if everyone at your table has a different Haggadah, which instructions should you follow? The one in front of you, the Haggadah, the one the rabbis say, the one your rabbi said? Which
Well,
instructions should you follow?
what I would argue is that you should do what your if you have parents and grandparents, etc., have a tradition about to do, then you should follow that. That would be my approach. Since all this seems to be different valid opinions, so in practice, what you do is I remember what my Zaidi did, and I remember what my father did when he led the Seder. So you know that's what we did. So I continued that when I started leading the Seder. Okay. 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 Continue. If one did not eat a kasayas, we have Moshe, are you still reading?
Oh, yes, of course. If one did not eat a kazayas,
You
one
did
should
eat a
never.
kasayas. Wait. One did
One
eat a kasayas.
day.
Oh, I'm sorry. If one
Right.
did eat a kazayas, one should nevertheless not recite a bracha achrona, because the bracha on karpas is supposed to cover the consumption of the mor as well, as explained by the Mishnah Brewer.
Oh, you
Mishnah
see, that's an
Brewer
interesting thing.
and recites the bracha of Borei Pri Hadamo, and one should have intention to exempt the mora that one will eat later with this bracha. One does not recite the concluding bracha even if one ate a kazayas, since the first bracha covers the mora as well.
That's an interesting thing, and what happens is I always thought that that Birchat HaMazon, counted for everything afterward. If, in other words, at some point or another, you do Birchat HaMazon. All right, let's continue. Is everybody read? I'll read. Judy, we read. Tova, Milt, Moshe Resnick, Lance, Felice. You want to read, Felice?
Okay. Yachatz. On the Seder night, one is supposed to eat a broken piece of matzah instead of a whole matzah, which is the reason for performing yachatz, the breaking of the matzah prior to magid. This is similar to a poor person who doesn't have the means to procure a full loaf
Oh,
of bread and suffices with a piece
hold
instead
on a second.
as
Just give me a second.
and we
Okay.
don't eat bread anyway.
No,
I don't.
that's not bread. It means
Well,
matzah.
I know a full
Okay.
loaf of. I mean, we're not. Why do they bring a full loaf of bread when you're eating matzah?
Now, in other words, what they're saying is that a poor
One
person
suffices.
always holds stuff in reserve. Can I make a suggestion at this point, that it's 10:56? So let's stop doing yachats now and start with it next week, God willing. And in the meantime, I've got some work to do. So I'll get a hold of Rabbi Linzer and see. I know he's written about this fairly extensively in terms of the type of tradition one should do in the very rare circumstance where Erev Pesach is,
Shabbos.
is on Shabbos. I mean, so what do you do about eating it? Can you eat egg matzah
Excuse me,
instead?
Bert,
Yeah,
could you stop sharing for a minute?
sure. Hold on a second. Stop sharing.
Okay,
Yeah.
now we can see you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
What
so
you're
I'm going to ask him what it is to do, and as I say, some of the stuff, if it was, I know that. I don't remember what day it is, is that I know that at one point, and I was in a hotel and they had, we ate egg matzah as as hamotzi. I just really don't, I really don't understand any of that. But I'm going to get clarification about all of that, and I'll ask as well, how come we don't do Mayim Acharonim, at the Seder, on behalf of Lance. Okay, everybody have a
okay.
good week.
The
And
Lord's know.
just wait,
You too.
let me mention, as long as I have everybody still here, uh, I assume, maybe I'm wrongly assuming, that, obviously for Chol Hamoed, would I don't I think, oh no, it's Sunday and Monday is It's Sunday. Oh, it's Sunday and Monday. So obviously it's going to be Yontif. But Chol HaMoed, Echol HaMoed, for this first Sunday, the first Monday after Pesach. I think Pesach ends on Sunday, and so do we want to have a group on Monday afterwards?
I'm going to be traveling, so I'm not going to be available, but that's,
Huh? All right, we're going to skip that too because our kids are still going to be there,
yeah.
my grandkids. And that, just as an aside, this is their favorite holiday. I mean, they love it. Shoshana and Adam, have them reenact. I have my oldest grandson has a Paro outfit, so he's Paro and Moshe plays Moshe, and so with the asp on it and this whole thing, my grandson, I have no idea why he was intrigued so much by Paro. And so, but this is what they do. And so, for example, Shoshana and Adam hold up two blue plastic tablecloths, and the kids go running through it as Kriyas Yamsuf.
Oh,
That's
that's cute.
And running once, of course, is not. It's just, oh boy, this is so much fun. So they just keep running around in circles. Anyway, have a good week, everybody.
Okay, so who
And let
wants
me
You
go.
to,
too.
Yeah, take care. Kol
Good
tov.
week.
Thank you. You too.
Hi, Anna. A short while ago, I spoke to somebody else in your office about trying to schedule a Prolia shot for me for tomorrow. And I said, well, wait a minute. That's too early because I need to have it. You know, it used to take a long time with the Cigna to get it approved and so forth. But my husband just reminded me that I no longer have the Cigna. We have Medicare. And he said he doesn't even know if Medicare even needs to approve it. So, okay, my date of birth is January 8th, 1954. My name is Judy Stieglitz, spelled Judy. My first name, my family name is Stieglitz, Stieglitz. 3333 Henry Hudson Parkway, apartment 7E, Bronx, New York 10463. Within the hour. Somebody with a British accent. I forgot her name. That's right. That sounds right. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay, great, sure. Okay. Thank you much.